Can you beat Elden Ring without drinking FLASK at all? This is probably the most fun challenge I did so far because I use different strats to get through the whole thing. The rules are simple. Number 1, I'm not allowed to use FLASK of Crimson Tier. Basically, I cannot heal using the FLASK, but I am allowed to heal using other methods. Number 2, I'm not allowed to use FLASK of Cerulian Tier, so I cannot refill my FP using the FLASK. But same as before, other methods are allowed. And the last one, no FLASK of wondrous physics. Yeah, definitely no crystal tier, so basically no buffs. But other methods are allowed. With all the challenge run I did previously, I think I'm more confident this time. I gathered all the knowledge from my experiences and decided to go with brute force this whole playthrough. Because that's what I do every single challenge run. I'll just have to remember to throw away my FLASK in the beginning of the game.
Huh?
So, I'm playing as a hentai protagonist and picking Vagabond as my starting class because his stats are pretty balanced. I think. I just have to level up strength and dex to match my weapon of choice. He also has a decent vigor as well. I have a sword and a halberd as my starting weapons, but to be honest, I'm not really good at wielding sword, so I pick halberd as my main weapon. Before I start the whole journey, I remove all these disgusting flasks out of my equipment and I made my way straight away to Soldier of Godrick to test my halberd. It's a good weapon though, but I only use it for a short period of time before switching it to another weapon. The first thing I do as soon as I reach Limgrave is to level up. I don't want to underestimate this whole challenge run, so I think leveling up is necessary, especially to reach some requirements to use certain weapons. I already have a solid plan in this playthrough, but I have to execute it carefully. So, I went to Caelid right away to grind some runes. And while I'm at it, I also acquired the Radagon Sorcial Talisman to boost my stats. It really helps me to increase my vigor and especially my strength and dexterity to reach the weapon requirements faster. That's why my next objective is to get a spear called Cross Naginata. It's also located in Caelid, so it's very convenient. The reason I use this weapon is because I like spear in general. And on my previous challenge run, I used this weapon as well, so I'm already familiar with the moveset. Naginata can be infused with a wide range of Ashes of War, so the weapon has a wide range of playstyle in my opinion. And it also has 50 bleed prog, so it's good. I went to Liurnia to get access to Volcano Manor by talking to Raya, even though I don't have any plan to go there, but I'll do it just in case I need it. But the main thing right now is to get the Smithing Stone Bell Bearing to level up my weapons. I have to fight the Crystallian boss. As the first boss fight, it wasn't that hard to be honest. I just have to break its stance and everything is a cakewalk. I almost forgot to kill the giant dragon in Caelid, but I went back from Liurnia just to get some extra runes to level up, and now I'm ready to fight Margit. I was thinking on summoning Rogier, but hey, I want to try to fight Margit myself. I'm not against summoning in this playthrough since it's not against my rules, but I prefer not to summon if I can, so I want to test it my skill set, you know. So here we go against Morgott. After all the grind I did before, it's not that bad to fight him. As the first boss, the first main boss, his moves are predictable. I just have to be defensive the whole time. But I can see why Crimson Tier plays a very big role in the game, unless you're a really good Souls player, which I'm not. It's very difficult to not get hit by the boss at least once, and I'm sure I'm not a good Souls player, yeah. I died 3 times before, but it's still a good fight though. and I got the W at the end. After beating Margit, I got one more talisman slot, so I went to Death Touch Catacombs to get the Assassin's Crimson Dagger talisman by fighting the Black Knife Assassin. The perk with this talisman is I can replenish my health if I get critical hit or by reposting my enemy, so it's very useful since I cannot heal with the traditional way of drinking FLASK. Moving on to fight Godrick. As I said before on my previous videos multiple times, Godrick is much easier than Margit, but that doesn't mean I can underestimate him. First phase wasn't a problem at all, I just have to keep dodging and maintaining my range with him. I still haven't relied on my Ash of War because the way I see it, I don't need it when fighting Godrick. He deals a good amount of damage, but his moves are dodgeable. The only time I have to be careful on his second phase is where he grabs you with his dragon hand and just burn you to death. I was a little hesitant to dodge that, but I succeeded anyway, and Godrick is now dead. Before we continue, I need to meet up with Kenneth Hyde and complete his quest. You guys wondering why I did this? It's for the end game plan so I can summon Nepheli when fighting Godfrey, if I have to. This also requires me to finish Nepheli's quest as well, which I did after finishing Kenneth's quest. And speaking about quests, I also did Vera's quest to get access to everyone's favorite place, which is the Mohgwyn Dynasty, best farming location of all time. I think I invested a lot of time on this whole playthrough. I went back to Caelid again to fight the Magma Worm. I think I kinda need the Moonveil for some reason. I don't know exactly what for, but Moonveil is one of my favorite weapons a while ago, so I killed the Magma Worm and got the weapon. It's time for me to go against Rennala, but I still want to get some stuffs before advancing to fight some bosses. So I got Spectral Lance in Raya Lucaria Academy, but then I have to go to Redmane's castle to acquire the Flame of the Redmanes. Both of these Ashes of War has the same functions. They inflict poise damage to enemies and it will break their stance eventually. They're gonna be very useful, especially with the Crimson Dagger talisman I have currently. So I went to the academy this time and fight the Red Wolf of Radagon. It was a bit hard for me. The dog doesn't even have a lot of health, but I was having trouble to dodge most of his attacks. Maybe because I didn't get used to that. Usually my opening occurs when he did the sword attacks, but it has a delayed sword attack that always got me. It's supposed to be a normal fight, but I think it's a bit hard for some reason, but I beat it at the end. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. I wear the Royal Carrion pieces like the helmet to increase my health gradually in a pinch. I forgot to record the fight though with Ansha. Sorry guys. Alright, so I took out that Carrion Knight and went straight to Rennala. On the first phase, it was easy AF. I don't even break a sweat at all. I might think the same on her second phase, but I did underestimate the situation a lot. Rennala could one-shot me with some of her moves, so I have to be super careful and keep playing defensive as usual. I can get a double hit on her, but I have to back out afterwards since she is going to summon something. The best way to deal with her summon is to run away from her until they despawn, and there will be a cooldown for her before she can summon again. It's probably my opportunity to land a couple hits, and I beat her. I died around 4 times because of being reckless, but I did it anyway. So I said it before, I have to complete Nefeli's quest as well, right? Apparently I haven't finished the last part of her quest, which is getting the Stormhawk King from the Church of Anticipations, the first location we spawn. I went to 4 belfries and get the imbued Storm Sword and yeah, reach the location. I have to fight the Grafted Sion again, but this time it's not a problem since I already leveled up much more and upgraded my weapon, so easy peasy. I completed the quest for now and traveled to Carrion Manor to fight Loretta before meeting Ranni. The fight wasn't that crazy. I died a couple times, but not that many to be honest. Loretta is easy to predict. I prefer to play aggressive against her because she will use her melee attacks most of the time, like the 3 Sentinel when we are too close. So I prefer that way rather than dodging her magic attacks. She got easily staggered with the Flame of Red Manes, but she has no weak spot to repose. Regardless of that, my spear still deal a significant amount of damage to her, so it wouldn't be a problem. I have to play through Ranni's quest to get Mimic Tier, so after meeting her, reach Altus Plateau, I went back to Redmane's castle to fight Radahn. I wasn't that worried about Radahn after all because I'm allowed to summon every NPC in the arena, and I did so. I still have to land some attacks on him, but I cannot do it too much since Radahn has a massive range of attacks, and it's a little too dangerous for me. I couldn't take too many risks, so every time I don't feel safe, I just keep my distance and let all my allies swarm him. Luckily, I can summon Terolina so she can heal me for a bit, even though it's not really that noticeable. After I beat Radahn and get his armor from Round Table Hold, I went straight to Nokron to get Mimic Tear. I don't plan on using it, but I have to get it just in case I need it though, as usual. I have to be prepared. Also, I got the Great Ghost Glowfort with Fingerslayer Blade to proceed to Ranni's quest. I made my way to Leyndell Gate and confronted by the freaking tree sentinel in front of me. Not gonna lie, I should have used my coward playstyle by hitting him one time and escape, but because I want to try if I can take him down normally, well, as you can see, it wasn't a success and I died plenty of times. I really want to summon Tragoth because I never summoned him in my entire playthrough, ever, and also combined with my +5 Mimic Tear. Yes, +5 guys, which is pretty weak. But when you summon Mimic Tear, it will consume 600 HP. It was a huge amount of health on my current condition right now, but I still summon it to see if it's worth it. Since I'm allowed to summon manually, I hope this is the only time I use summons the entire playthrough, and I still died. This is how bad I am against the Lightning Tree Sentinel. I can keep going with using Flame of the Red Mains, but I have to remember that I don't have much FP to begin with, because I barely leveled up my mind. Plus, Tree Sentinel doesn't have weak points, just like Loretta, so I cannot repose him in any way, which means I cannot replenish my health or my FP. So what I do here is to rely all the damage dealer from Tragoth and my Mimic Tear. Mimic Tear is gonna be dead in a while, but Tragoth can withstand Tree Sentinel attacks most of the time, so I wouldn't concern too much about it. We beat him at the end. Me and Tragoth barely made it, but Mimic Tear is already on the ground, dead. We reached Leyndell, and it's time to upgrade my arsenal for a bit. Since I got Leonel's armor, but they were too heavy to worn full set, I decided to wear the body armor only, and I went right away to face Godfrey. Honestly, I have to tell you guys, I rushed this battle with Godfrey because I had to go to the doctor at the moment, so I only have 30 minutes to beat Godfrey. You know, I love Godfrey though. The golden version is an easy fight. I can play as aggressive as I can without getting too many risks. He is somehow slow and has a lot of openings, so usually it works great with the dex build. I actually died a couple of times, but not that many though, because in 30 minutes I took him down. Well, it's around 15 minutes actually. I didn't rely on Ash of War this time because I can see I don't need to when fighting Godfrey, but I still have to use it in a pinch since I have to replenish my health as well. And now, I have one last talisman slot. Before fighting Morgott, I need one more thing as the last piece of the puzzle, which is getting the Assassin's Cerulean Dagger Talisman. It's the same thing as the Crimson Dagger Talisman, but this will replenish your FP instead of your health. So, I can use my Ash of War more often. It's located in the Black Knife Catacombs, and the whole dungeon is a bit confusing to me, and I wasn't prepared when fighting the Black Knife. Luckily, I took her down, but it was close. I flew back to Leyndell and get the Bolt of Grandsex. I need this weapon for farming purposes though, if you know what I mean. Also, I'm ready to fight Morgott now. Probably one of the longest fight I had so far. As usual, I always struggling with Morgott. Even after preparing so many things, it's still difficult for me. I feel like it's really hard to match the timing to attack him while most of the time he's using chain attacks on me. I can dodge some of his attacks, but he has both delayed and fast attacks. So I got overwhelmed sometimes. I tried summoning Melina and Mimic Tear in this fight, but they didn't work because having summoned to fight Morgott actually ruined the attack pattern I learned previously. I already memorized his openings and tried to attack him once or twice per openings, but having summons actually scrambled the pattern, and that's the reason I died a lot. So I decided to change my strats. I switched my weapons to dual katanas, Moonfell on the right and Nagakiba on my left. I use Nagakiba because it's so long, dude. So for katana, having the wide range is an advantage. Also, I'm going solo this time, without summon at all, because I realized reading his attack pattern is getting easier right now. On first phase, most of his attacks are dodgeable. I limit myself to only land a single hit per opening because I was being cautious with his surprise attack. Both of my weapons has bleed status, and it really helped me to get his second phase pretty quick. Second phase, Morgott become more aggressive than before, but some of his moves makes it really wide window of openings, so that I can land a couple hits before he start attacking again. To think about this, I could use the Flame of Redmanes, but I was too afraid for its recovery time, so I decided to attack him normally, and at the end I took him down. It was a tough fight, for sure, and I was super patient in this entire fight though. As I continue my journey to the mountaintops of the giants, I upgraded my weapons and leveled up even more just to be safe. Before facing the fire giant, I fought Okina and stole his River of Blood katana, because I think I need this weapon to fight Radagon since he is weak to fire, and not to mention, River of Blood is everyone's favorite weapon. Okay, fire giant, the easiest boss to fight unless some inconvenience happens to you, which is the case this time. It took me 2 deaths. How? Well, look at this. That small amount of health is making me violent, but fighting him for real is not that difficult for the first phase. In fact, I get to his second phase super fast. Not even reach 3 minutes I think. His second phase is also not that hard. I choose bleed rather than breaking his poise because striking fire giant's weak points can only be done on his second phase, and it took me a while as well to reach his giant's eyes in the middle. So I think it would be better for me to take cover under his crotch and keep scratching his thighs like a depressed teenager. Whenever things got a bit too dangerous, for example, when he pulled out the double fireballs, I just need to make them explode while maintaining my range with the fire giant so he wouldn't be able to smash me. My last hit was a bit too risky though, because the fire could have hit me, but I was fast enough to put him down. We're getting there. I reached Farum Azula and getting ready to strike the Godskin Duo. I crafted multiple sleep pots and already prepared some Trina's Lily just in case those are not enough. Unfortunately, have to summon Burnhal as well because I couldn't handle even one of them without the FLASK because I need heals, I need to heal. This really took the toll to me because even with Burnhal and using sleep pots wasn't working at all. Probably I was unlucky enough this time, but that's not everything I have. I can still use different approach. Since I already get the Finger Slayer blade before, I went back to Ranni and give it to her. This will cause Celophis and Pedia died for some reasons, so I visited Vidia's corpse and he'll drop Dolores the Sleeping Arrow. Before going back to Godskin Duo, I spent a little bit of time grinding some runes to increase my stats. So, I made a new plan. This might be a little hard because Dolores needs to put one of them to sleep while me and Burnhal take care of the other one. I infused Bloody/Ash of War to my Naga Kiba, but it was backfire pretty quick since it consumes a little bit of my health upon using. And also, Godskin Duo deals a lot of damage too, so I died again, multiple times. But I see some window of opportunity here. I know Bloody Slash takes a certain amount of health, but it also deals a good damage to them. Dolores is on +6 right now, but she can put them to sleep pretty quick, so I think that's enough. I just have to gamble this time. I was being extra defensive. I can land a couple hits before to shift their attention to me and have to wait for Burnhal to attack them. Not gonna lie, there are some lucky moments where Burnhal break their stance a couple times so I can repost them to replenish my health and my FP. This was super helpful. Burnhal almost died at the last moment, but we managed to take them down. It was super close. Up next is the boss that I hated the most, but this time, it's the easiest boss out of all time. Even easier than Margit. You guys remember when I said I have to get the Flame of the Red Mains right a while ago? That Ash of War plays a very big role from now on. Surprisingly, Malekith has a very small poise health in general. If you fight against him in NG+, it might be a little more difficult using this method, but this time, I only need to cast the flame 2 times until it breaks his stance and I can repose him afterwards. This method actually preventing Malekith to attack at all. So basically you can kill him without any effort. It works the same way with his second phase. I just have to find a single opening to cast the flame twice and he'll got no chance to stand, because after you break his stance, he will take some time to recover, so you have another chance to cast the flame again. Easiest fight ever. Reaching the end of the game. Gideon probably on the same level as Malekith. I brought back the dual katana combo and he didn't stand a chance. Got owned. This is it. We're almost there. I'm almost surprised on how challenging Godfrey is, and that's why I completed all the quests prior so I have the ability to summon Nepheli in this fight. But surprisingly, she's not effective at all. It's the same case with Morgott, because Godfrey has a readable attack pattern, and having a summon is just ruining the pattern to me, and I decided to scrap her. Because Godfrey's attack pattern is quite solid, I mostly got punished if I dodge or attack too late. But this fight was quite fun. First phase wasn't that crazy. I can depleted his health until a quarter and started spamming the Flame of the Red Mains to help him reach the second phase faster. Things are a little harder actually, since he's really fast. I can take this as an advantage, so whenever he charges towards me, I can actually cast the flame and it's guaranteed hit. But on the other side, I have to keep my distance with him because most of his attacks can kill me in one hit. That last moment was a close call. If I didn't run, the chain attacks would have killed me on spot.
Tarnished, thy strength befits a crown.
Final pull, let's go! Because Radahn is weak to fire, I thought it would be easier for me to use the River of Blood since it has fire damage, as well as bleed as its passive build-up. I mean, it deals a significant amount of damage to Radahn, but I was having trouble with his moves and I keep dying. I have to find an opening to start attacking, which is probably the hardest thing at the moment. I'm able to dodge most of his attacks, but sometimes he shows some fake openings and I got punished right away. After multiple deaths, I decided to change my strats because apparently the problem is my attack moves and the recovery time, which I didn't get used to when fighting Radahn. I brought back my Naginata and used the traditional way of casting flame. After a couple rounds, I managed to kill Radahn, but I only have a little health left and I died right away by the Elden Beast. I did change my weapons to use dual katana again, but this time Nagakiba is equipped with Flame of the Red Mains. After a very long time of grinding and managed to kill Radahn 3 times, but died afterwards by the Elden Stars, I think I have to call for help. As I said before, having summons actually break the enemy's attack pattern that you have learned, but this time I think I need it, and what I do the whole battle is to wait patiently and cast the flame whenever I had the chance. Finally, we beat Radahn, and I still have a decent amount of health to fight Elden Beast. I remember someone's advice to fight Elden Beast. I have to keep attacking and be aggressive before he casts some bullshit spells. And I followed that advice wholeheartedly. The problem is, if you have a small amount of health left, it's nearly impossible to survive, especially when he used Elden Stars. That crab is annoying. And at the end, we beat it. We beat Elden Ring without drinking FLASK a single time. I followed all the plans I made this entire playthrough, but I don't think it's the best plan in the world. Morgott, Godskin Duo, and Radahn took me a very long time to beat. Radahn itself took me for about 24 hours, but then again, I'm not a very good Souls player. I'm actually a newcomer with Elden Ring as my first Souls game ever. But please, if you have any advice, I'll be really happy to read the comments. And also, if you enjoy, make sure to give it a like and subscribe because I'm still gonna do many more challenges in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next challenge run. Goodbye.